Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Clangin and Bangin with Mikey, episode 289. And right before I hopped on this, to do my podcast, I was on YouTube. The one of the shorts from Shannon Sharp came up when he was interviewing Iman Shumpert, and he said, like, bro, if you don't like the vibe, get up and leave. If you don't want to be here, that's fine. And he said, like, the one thing my pops told me, and I'm paraphrasing, he's like, the sooner you learn that people don't care, like nobody cares, the better off you'll be. And that resonated with me, man, because it's like there's so many people out there that care about what other people think. You know what I mean? And to me, it's just redundant. I'm like, it doesn't matter. You know, it really doesn't matter. I don't care what it is. It's like, uh, my ex girlfriend she tore her meniscus, you know, simply from this, from dancing hula and everything too, right? And so she's been dealing with with that knee injury too. And like, mind you, we haven't been together but for about 6 months to a year. Like, she tried to come back, but it just didn't work out, right? And not that she's a bad person, it is that she wanted friendship, and I wasn't willing to give that. I can be cordial with you. I can talk to you, whatever it is, but it's like we're not gonna be friends. Like, I'm sorry, it's not gonna happen. That's just one of the boundaries for me, and I'm like no, like, you don't get to have girlfriend privileges, and then, like, when you decide that you don't want them anymore, like, now you want to go back to being friends. It's like, it doesn't work that way. And so I remember one night we was talking and she brought that up, and so I'm sitting there, she's talking to me, and I'm like, okay, but you gonna tell me how it happened? Because I don't know how it happened. And so she told me, I'm like, okay. And like, she went to physical therapy, the whole nine, and like, the therapist is telling her, like, oh, well, like, you got to do X, Y, and Z, like, you got to build up your knee and everything because you literally tore a muscle, right? I'm like, yeah. It's like, you got to start from the ground up because it's like, that's what it is. And she said, like, she heard it pop too. They were doing a particular movement when they were training for Mary Monarch, and she heard it pop. I'm like, okay, that's not good, because if you can hear it pop, that means you definitely tore something. And so she was telling me, like, oh yeah, the physical therapist said that, like, oh, I got to put 25 pounds on the on the leg press machine, and yada yada yada. And like, the next thing she said kind of threw me for a loop. She says, I don't want people staring at me and judging me. It's like, bro, nobody gives a fuck. Like, I told her, nobody cares. It's like, you know, only people that's gonna fucking, like, look at you and stare is motherfuckers who have nothing better to do. You know, most people in the gym, we're not looking at what other people do. It's like, then there's me. Like, I may talk shit to somebody who I know personally. Like, come on, man, I know you're stronger than that. Because it's like, if you're picking up a 5 pound dumbbell, but I've seen you do the 25 pound dumbbells for reps before, why the fuck you got a 5 pound dumbbell in your hand? You know what I mean? So it's like that type of shit, right? But it's like, I'm not gonna go up to some random ass person I don't fucking know and talk shit. It's like, if I see her in the gym, I'm gonna talk some shit, whatever it is. But now that I know what it is, it's like, I'm not gonna do that, because it's like, yo, you're literally going through a PT program. You're going through you're going through a program, with an individual who has a doctorate in the literally in the human body, and so when she told me that, I'm like, nobody's gonna care because nobody's gonna notice, you know. And she's like, what? I was like, yeah, like, nobody's gonna notice. And other thing I wanted to talk about, man, is like, know when to leave a situation. Like, I was I was talking to this girl for about a month or so, and like 2 weeks in, she was telling me, oh, like, she had mentioned something like, oh, well, I'm a size 9 in, like, sneakers, and and like Nikes and Jordans, right? Just being sarcastic, and she didn't. and she's kind of oblivious to to sarcasm, right? So I kind of had to break things down to her, which is kind of a after a while it gets tiresome because it's like, come on, stick with me. And I remember, excuse me, uh, she had said well like you know I get my hair done, nails done, purses and flowers type of girl. I'm like, okay, cool. This is 2 weeks in, right? And I'm looking at it like, number one, why are you telling me this? And number two, what makes you think I'm gonna pay for your hair, your nails, and buy you purses? Flowers, yeah, no problem. But like you gotta earn that, bro. And mind you, like I said, like this is 2 weeks in, and how I met this girl was off Facebook dating, right? And I remember, sending her a text. This is like maybe 2 weeks ago, and I said like, yo, like I said I know Christmas is a ways away, but um, if I got you a Christmas gift, what would you want? And I jokingly said like, oh well, I'm just trying to have you break that, because her thing is like no physical, like no physical thing, like no kissing X, Y, and Z, because she said it's too soon for them. Okay, cool, you know, and I'm like, yeah, okay, and so when I sent that text message, I told her like I'm just trying to get you to break your no kissing rule, right? And then that's when she responded with like, well, like nothing physical right now, exactly, yada yada yada, and I feel that's where it's headed to. Like maybe that's how you flirt, whatever it is. And mind you, I'm at this point I've been talking to this girl for like three almost 4 weeks daily, right? Or if not daily, almost every other day. And so I was like, all right, bet. And she said she needed intentional dating and X, Y, and Z. Like real dates, planning, and all this other stuff. And she's like, well, like the physical thing. I'm like, I'm not looking for that right now. I'm like, okay, but we've been talking about a month. And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, like, what are we doing? Like, because if I wanted her to just jump in my sheets, I can go get that. Like I can go. I mean, not that I have to pay for it, but if worse come to worse, like you can always go get that, and pay for that, right? If that's all you want, like you don't have to waste your time and to get to know somebody just simply because it's like, you know, if you just want to have sex with you, you can go pay for that, bro. And it's like it's a lot cheaper than like dealing with somebody getting to know them X, Y, and Z, and spending all his money and time and whatnot. And it's like, yeah. And so when she said all that, I'm like, okay, cool, you know. So fast forward about a week. One of my good friends, he got married last weekend. He got married, so I'm sending her pics and videos of the wedding. I ain't getting no response. Okay, cool, whatever. Because it's like she's on the trip, and so I'm thinking like, man, like, and so she was gone for like 2 weeks, and I was like, okay, what's going on? Because it's like you was updating me on your trip X, Y, and Z, all that stuff, and it's like, and now you're not, and I know my text messages were going through. So the other day I sent her a text message, be like, look, like if your effort is if your real effort is silence, then we're obviously not in it. We're not on the same page. We're in two different pages. And I was like, do you want to talk about this, or do you want to just let this go? And I never got a response. So like that tells me right there, okay, I'm gonna leave it alone. Whereas most guys would chase, they would do X, Y, and Z, like, they would basically become an annoyance, right? And it's like, I'm at the age now where I'm like, I don't have to do that. You know, I don't have to chase somebody who doesn't want to, like who doesn't want to have anything to do with me. You know, it's redundant for me to do that. It's actually disrespectful to me too. Um, as crazy as that may sound. And I think with that situation, it's weird because you end up dealing with an individual where it's like, bro, it's number one, it's not even that serious. And number two, like, there was certain shit that she was saying. I'm like, nah, I can't. Like, I can't look past this, right? Cause it's like I was telling my therapist about the situation. I said, like, look, like, I think this is like third date or something. And the topic of conversations had came up, and for some strange reason, she just blurted out and she told me, what did she say? She said, oh, how she lost her virginity, this and this and that. I'm like, or when she lost her virginity. I'm like, yo, I don't need to know all that. That's TMI. I don't, that's not something you know, something I want. I needed to be disclosed because number one, I didn't ask, and number two, I don't really care. I'm just gonna assume at like, if you're in your mid-30s, you probably don't have you're probably not a virgin, you know. And if you're a virgin, you know, like that's not sad, but that's just you know interesting, because it's like to me, like being a virgin is like it's like not participating in sex. It doesn't mean that, oh well, like just because you didn't nut, it doesn't mean that that you're not a virgin. But it's like if you're in bed with somebody and you guys are having sex, it's like you most likely know that what you're doing for the most part. And it's like just because you don't nut doesn't mean that you don't that you're still a virgin. You know what I mean? So and to me it's like because that shit happens all the time, bro. It's like guys get caught up in certain they get caught up in their head. They get anxiety. They can't perform whatever it is, and it's normal. It's normal. And I remember when she said like when she said like, oh well, like no it's not, because X Y and Z. I'm like, yeah, red flag number two. you know Actually, red flag number one, the whole intentional dating thing, and like real dates and everything too. Like that was red flag number two, because all I heard in my head was, I want you to spend more money on me, and I'm not willing to do that, especially for somebody I don't even know, you know, you know, especially for somebody that like hasn't earned that trust yet. You know what I mean? And it was something along the lines too. Was um I think once like I think she had texted me. She's like, "Hey, what you up to? This and this and that." I'm like, "Oh, like I'm just at the crib chilling. Like, you want to come over?" And then she's like, "Oh, well, well, it's too soon for us to be spending time at each other's houses. This and this and that." And like I said, mind you, I was talking to this girl damn near every day. Majority of it was I say about 60-40 was her. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like it was 50-50 yet, but it was definitely, she was definitely, making it known that she liked me. And so when all that popped off, I was like, okay, like, this is kind of strange, but whatever. Because it was, And I think that's I think that's the most, not weird thing, but it's just a weird situation, because you end up in a situation where it's like, bro, it's like, okay, like, why are you doing this? It just doesn't make any sense. Or why are you why are you putting yourself in a situation where it's like, your needs and everything is not being met. And that's the most crazy thing to me, because people will sit there and say like this girl, I need intentional dating, I need real dates, I need X, Y, and Z, like actual planning, all that stuff. And it's like, what do you think we've been doing? You know, and this is the same thing that I said last week, right? And I said, it's crazy to me, like being older, and it's like most like, and I just went to my high school class reunion, and I found out that some of my classmates, like they've been divorced, you know, most of them at least once, some at least you know twice, and I think a couple was three times. Like that's crazy. Like that is insane. Like I could understand getting married young, you know, because I had a couple friends get married in college, and like when I say that shit didn't last, you know, more than a year, it didn't last more than a calendar year. And it's like that I can understand, you know, like getting married at 18, 19, 20 years old, and it's like you think it's gonna last forever, and it doesn't. You know, like you think that you know you like you think by having a baby by somebody's gonna make this person grow up, and it doesn't. You know, if anything, it just exposes you know you to who you know to who they truly are. You know, which is uh a lot of immature people. You know, and especially at 20, 21 years old, is like you have no business being married. You have no business doing X, Y, and Z. It's like like your main goal is if you're in school, finish school. If you got a trade degree, do that. If you know work on your money, work on your credit, you know, work on certain things that you have to do to build yourself up, because you don't want to be in your 30s and 40s, you know, and it's like, and I mean everybody struggles, right? But you don't want to be that dude that just constantly is always struggling, you know. It's like, or people who have poor money management, or like a bunch of different kids by a bunch of different girls, and it's like, again, because I knew dudes like that. Like this one dude back in college, he had about 4 or 5 baby mamas, and all his kids were from different, you know, from those 4 or 5 girls. And the last girl, you know, that stupid bitch, she thought that she could change him, and then all she did was become baby mama number 6. And I'm like, I could have told you that, you know. And what's crazy too is like me and the dude are friends, and this is like 20 years ago, and I remember we was chilling in the library one day, you know, just doing our homework, and he literally told her, like, cause she worked in the library, so we would see her like pretty much every day, and and so he literally told her, like, yo, like, we're better off as friends, because every time I get in a relationship with a girl, I fuck it up. He was literally telling her, stay away from me. You know, like, I'm not that dude that you think I am. That did the opposite, bro. She applied more pressure, you know? And it's like, and it's crazy too, because it's like, this is before I had my license. And so she would let him borrow her truck and everything. So, like, when I say that we run all over the fucking place, bro, I like, we, you know, and we barely put any fucking gas in that bitch. Yeah. Like, he used her like he played her like a flute, and like I think about that from you know from time to time, and I'm like that kid, that kid that she has by him, like that kid's got to be at least minimum at least maybe 16, 17 years old by now. He's got to be on the verge of adulthood, you know what I mean? Because it's like that's how long ago it was, you know. It's like, and it was funny too, because one of my homegirls at the time too, like she didn't know that he was out here fucking around with her, and talking to, you know, he was fucking around with, you know, with that other girl, and he was talking, you know, talking to her. And it come to find out, like, she found out like several months later, like, oh yeah, like, oh shit, I dodged a bullet at that, you know what I mean? Because like we all went to school together. So when everything kind of hit the fan, my homegirl from high school, who he was talking to, she was like, yo, like, she's like, Mikey, how come you didn't tell me? It's like, it wasn't my place. You know, I said, like, you was gonna find out sooner or later. You know, it's like, just be glad that, you know, that you wasn't, you know, just be glad that you wasn't that you didn't get caught up in that, you know. But the one thing that guy did teach me, he taught me how to talk real slick, you know, cause he was 24 and I was like 18, 19. Yeah, I was about 18. Yeah. So he taught me how to talk to girls and everything too, and it's like coupled with how I grew up and everything too, and it's like all that stuff. So it's like I put that into my repertoire, and it's like I'm not saying that I'm a Casanova and anything like that, because it's not like I'll go out there and get numbers all the time, because I don't. But at the end of the day, it's like I just thought that was interesting, because it's like people will get caught up in situations, and like and like then they want to sit there and play victim. I'm like, but you can't though. It's like you can't sit there and play victim in a situation that you created. It's like you're gonna create a situation, and it's like then get mad at that. It's like my ex telling me like, oh well, like you said yourself that that we wouldn't be able to be to be friends and X, Y, and Z. I'm like, did you forget what you did? Do you need a refresher? Do you do you need me to walk you back down memory lane? It's like what you did, bro, is like, like digging up dirt on me, accusing me of cheating on you, and there was no fucking proof. And then you tried to bring other people into our shit. To basically try to see if, like if I was two-timing on you. So it's like, bro, it's like, what are you talking about? Of course we're not gonna work out. And it's not because of what I said, it's because of how you conducted yourself. Like, why would you sit there and like sabotage and potentially destroy something that you want? It doesn't make any sense. It's like, and it goes back to the other girl too. It's like, I was like, yo, it's like, you talking about being intentional, but it's like, like, now you ghosting me, and I'm like, like this is cool. It's I mean, cool, because it's like you're showing me that you're not worth my time, and I'm gonna move accordingly. And and it's like I was telling my therapist, it's like, I don't chase people. When I was younger, I would do that shit. You know, and every once in a while, I fall back in that habit, and then I realize that I'm doing it, then I stop. You know, and and I think that's where a lot of people get it fucked up at, because it's like they're like, oh well, X, Y, and Z, yada yada yada. Well, it's like, um, I remember once, it was a boys trip, and we had gone to LA for like a football game or something. So I think this was the week of Thanksgiving, or maybe it was yeah, it was the week of Thanksgiving. And there was this one girl on the flight, and and one of the dudes with us, he, like, when I say he had no skills, no confidence, no direction. Like, his mother, did damn near everything for him, but it was so fucking weird, bro. It was like, we're all in our 20s, right? 20s, early 30s, and it's like, bro, we're like, it's not that serious, my boy, because it's not. And I was telling him, I was like, bro, just I was telling him, it's like, man, it's like you got to put yourself in certain situations where you're forced to build on your confidence. Is that you can't just like, you know, be so afraid to talk to people that you don't talk to anybody, right? And so he was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, bro. It's like you have to build up your confidence, bro. It's like, and then like that's the only way that that this shit's gonna work. Um, because like if you think that you can go through life and people gonna come to you and X, Y, and Z, no, bro, it doesn't work that way. Cause it doesn't. You know, people be lying to you to say if it does, because it doesn't. Um, and I remember one of the dudes in the group said like, "Oh well, like you know." we was talking about something because like he was bitching about this girl that he really liked, but he never made a move, all this other shit. And so we sitting there, we're talking one day about it, and he said like, oh well, like one of the guys in the group, he was like, oh, so what you gonna do if she told you that that she's not interested? And he's like, oh, I don't know. He was like, bro, you keep going until she tells you no, you know. And I'm like, bro, she told you she's not interested. She's literally telling you no. Just leave it alone. It's like you don't want to be that dude who doesn't know how to take rejection. You don't want to be that dude who doesn't handle rejection well, because honestly, that's just pathetic. To sit there and to badger somebody to the point where they don't want nothing to do with you, like that's bad, bro. That's horrible. Because it is. I don't care what anybody tells you. People like that, they're weird. It's like people who don't know how to take no for an answer. Or like, it's like it's like the girl who wants to date the boy, or vice versa, and other person keeps telling like, yo, I'm not interested. I'm X, Y, and Z, yada yada yada, and that's that. It's like, and it's different if y'all were in an intimate relationship, whatever it is, and then X, Y, and Z. Like that's a completely different conversation. Like if somebody does that to you, like y'all get together, solid relationship, whatever it is, have sex, whatever it is, and then this person be like, oh, okay, well, I want to remain friends. Like that's different, because what they want, they probably never wanted a relationship with you. They just wanted access. They just wanted to have continual access to you, and like that's completely different. That's manipulation at that point. And I think that's where most people get it twisted, because they think, oh well, like if I keep them as a friend, but like somewhere down the line, and like something's gonna pop off. Like they gonna see my worth, and it's like in reality they're not. I hate to break it to you, but they're not. They're gonna see you as a dude, who you allowed them to keep you around because you have no self esteem or no self confidence, and that's what it is. And take it back to my situation with my ex. It's like you can sit there and like say X, Y, and Z, and think that somebody's cheating on you. You know, just because you've been through it before with a bunch of different people, before me, doesn't mean I'm doing the same thing. And I remember I had to tell her a few times. It's like, yo, it was like I'm not your ex-husband. You know what I mean? It's like, don't ever compare me to him. Like we're two different individuals, and if you ever do that again, I'm leaving. You know what I mean? Because it's like you're going off something that you've known for X amount of years, X amount of decades. I get it. Like you think this shit is not real, but I don't know how many times I gotta tell you that it is. And after a while, people get tired of having that conversation. Yeah, they get tired of somebody, always having to prove their worth to somebody. And it's like, at the end of the day, it's like it's not about proving your worth. It's like, yo, it's either you rocking with me or you're not. If you're not rocking with me, that's fine. Like, leave the situation so the person who wants to rock with me, the person who wants to build with me, can build with me. You know? Stop thinking that it's like, oh well, it's this or it's that, and when it's not. It's like, bro, it's like you're over here making the situation more detrimental than it has to be, because you can't get out of your own way. And like like that's the sad part too, because it's like everybody nowadays has social media. I don't care what they say. People hop on threads every day, and it's like every single day on social media, there's always some sort of bullshit about like, you know, how girls just say, oh, well, men don't approach us anymore, this and this and that. It's like, yo, it's like, are you approachable? Like, seriously, straight up. Like, are you approachable? Because if you're not approachable, then what's the point? you know, or like if your idea of a date is a $300 dinner date and I just met you, then of course I'm not gonna date you because you you expect me to leave with my wallet before you even know who the fuck I am. And guys who do that shit, y'all are suckers, straight up. Like guys who leave with their wallet then complain about about all these girls doing X, Y, and Z. It's like, bro, it's like you spent $300 for this girl and like on date number one, and you took her to a steakhouse. You led with your wallet, and then you want to sit there and complain that you're being played. Make it make sense, bro. Like straight up, seriously. Like, make it make sense because like you can't sit there and say, oh, X, Y, and Z, yada yada yada, when in reality, it is your fault. When in reality, yeah, like the situation is what it is because you made it what it was. Like it's not hard to figure out, bro. And there's like very few women are genuine these days too. It's like social media's got it fucked up to think that, oh yeah, well, like like he's gotta do X, Y, and Z. It's like this one Kevin Samuels video, and this shit lives in my head rent free. The lady wanted her dude to have a master's degree, make $100,000 a year, and X, Y, and Z, right? And Samuels is like, okay, like, do you have a master's degree? Do you make over $100,000 a year? And both her answers to those questions were no. And then Samuels was like, then how the hell can you hold somebody else to that standard if you're not even holding yourself to that standard? Make it make sense, Or it's like for the single moms out there too, because it's like I know some single moms academically they smart as hell, but when it comes to personal relationships, they make some of the worst decisions ever. And I'm like, how can you be so smart academically on paper, but like you look at your decisions and it's like, were you thinking or were you just like going with the flow type of shit? Cause like this is what that shit looks like. And you're like, what? It's like, yeah. It's like, or it's like, or like the single moms that end up staying in relationships where the dude's a cheater. I'm like, no, you can't blame him. That's you because you knew about that shit too, and you still went with it. Like you still did it. So that doesn't make any sense, Like I don't understand how you can sit there and blame somebody else when you're a part of the problem too. Like that doesn't make any sense. Because it doesn't. And I think that's the most disheartening thing too, is like a lot of these girls will make these life altering decisions by having a baby or babies by a dude who's not even worthy of helping you take care of those kids or kid. You know what I mean? It's like, and to me, like it's just sad because it's like it's not 18 years, bro. It's for the rest of your life. And it's like, in the beginning, you have to notice the red flags. With that one girl I was talking to her for a month, the red flag was like, okay, like you exposed yourself. It's like you wanted me to, pay for your hairs, your hair, your nails, your makeup, your purses, whatever. And I'm like, that's girlfriend level treatment down the road. That's several years down the road. I don't mind paying for that. Like, if we're dating, 2-3 years, whatever it is, I don't mind paying for that for your, birthdays, or like anniversaries type of shit. Hey baby, go get your hair did, whatever it is. I mean, it's like, oh, hey, it's our anniversary, well, here's some flowers and go get your nails done, whatever it is. That I can understand. But if you come out the box 2 weeks in and you're saying X, Y, and Z, stuff like that, I'm like, okay. And then we're having a conversation and I'm telling you that what you just told me is TMI. I'm like, and then you want to sit there and argue with me, tell me it's not. That tells me, okay, number two is like, what else can you not keep quiet to yourself? And I'm not saying lie to the other person, but a lot of things don't need to be vocalized. So, and if you're sitting there telling me that, oh, this is not TMI, and the other person is telling you it is, then what's that tell you? Pay attention to what people tell you and what they don't tell you. It's like, I used to have a friend. She used to leave out stuff in situations, and like people would find out later on, and like, yo, it's like you essentially lied. And she's like, what you mean? Like, no, I didn't. Like, yes, you did. By leaving that particular detail or details out, the story wasn't complete. And the fucked up thing about it is that you thought this other individual wasn't going to find out, and they did find out. And I don't blame them for feeling a certain way, because I would too. You don't get to sit there and lie to people and then get mad that that they caught you in a lie. It's like, either tell the whole truth of the situation, or don't say nothing at all. Stop thinking that you can just bullshit your way out of certain things because you're more concerned with your reputation and your character. Like I've said this before, your reputation is what people think of you. Your character is who you are. So if you care more about your reputation, that means your character is shit. I'd rather be like, yeah, I'd rather people tell me, oh yeah, Mikey's an asshole. Mikey's a good guy. Mikey's this, Mikey's that. But you know what? All them people that say those things about me, they right. They're right. Because it's like, that's the version of me that you work to get. And like, if I'm an asshole to you, what's that tell you about you? What does that tell you about you? Not a whole hell of a lot. Or if I'm that nice guy for you, what's that tell you about you? I should tell you something, man. Or if I'm quiet around you, and I don't vocalize myself around you, what's that say about you? The version of me that people get is the version that they earned. And I think that's where a lot of people get it fucked up at. Like, they think, oh, well, it's X, Y, and Z, when it's really not. It's, the situation is what it is because of what people make it out to be. And, like, that's the sad part. It's like when people want to sit there and, like, play victim in a situation. And it's like, I remember when I had somebody that I know had said something. And I told them, well, like, be nice, X, Y, and Z. And they told me, well, like, watch your mouth with you. I'm always nice. And I like, and then they made some disrespectful comment based on how somebody smelled. I'm like, you just said you were nice. You're not nice. And I registered that, and I don't engage with you anymore on anything. So, like I said, the version that people get from you is the version that they earned. So stop thinking that everybody out there is your friend. Stop thinking everybody out there thinks the same way you do, because they don't. And it's like, understand that it's like, it is what it is. And so anyway, man, it's about 39 minutes of your life that y'all won't get back. Hope y'all keeping the 4 P's, private, player, positive, and pushing. I'll see y'all next week. I love y'all. And like I always say, know your worth because you're better than what you are. Peace. All right, y'all. Have a good Sunday.